I was waiting on the motion to pass. Is that the motion?
No, we hadn't voted. We hadn't voted.
Oh,
We hadn't
okay.
discussed.
I was reading through the bylaw, so I'm sorry.
We're in discussion, I guess. You're saying
We're
it's
still
a
in
motion discussion.
We did get a,
My biggest concern is that we do have a code of conduct, and we just passed the code of conduct. But even if we hadn't passed the code of conduct, there is an expectation for a person who is in leadership on the BIDA board. I do recall back in 2020 that there was an incident where a BIDA member was actually removed from BIDA for something that had nothing to do with BIDA. It was the fact that the person had multiple homestead exemptions. And I thought that that was really unfair. And it, so that's 2020. But here we are now in 2025. And I think that there should be a standard of conduct and expectation, especially for those of us that have been members of organizations for a long period of time. I could understand for somebody who was totally green, who had never served in a capacity as an elected official, somebody who had never been a mayor pro tem, someone who did not know parliamentary procedures, did not understand that in a democracy that one person is not an island. When you are a part of an organizational structure, it is imperative that you do not make decisions on your own, especially decisions that will impact the entire board, the reputation of the board, the reputation of the city. And in this particular situation, we're not just talking about one document that was executed. There's probably up to about 4 in 2025, which I won't get into those unless. So basically, my concern is that this was not something that was done once. It was done twice. And even at our last BIDA meeting in June, Ed Wall referred to this as being the second. But then we found out after that that this was the third. So I think I do agree with Board Member Jefferson. I'm not saying that the member should be removed, but I am saying that being in a position of leadership on the executive committee that is privy to information that this board doesn't get, and oftentimes they meet and they have meetings before our meetings to determine what will be discussed in our meetings, I'm concerned. So I feel that we are in, I know our city now has to pay $471,000, or we lost $471,000. We're working diligently to see how we can retrieve those funds. But we would never have been in the situation that we were in, and I've said this probably 4 or 5 times, had there not been a document executed that allowed for such an egregious act to be performed. Had there not, only thing we had from this city in terms of a broker agreement prior to September of 2024 was what the city council voted on and the mayor executed, which was a totally different type of agreement, which we've been very clear with. And then the document executed in November actually has the city of College Park on it as well, and BIDA. So I'm concerned that documents were executed that implicated BIDA, document that implicated BIDA and as an elected official of the city of College Park. The November documentation, I believe it has City of College Park on there too. And no one from the City of College Park or governing body approved it. So this board can make the determination of what they want to do. I think that if we do not, how do we go after Keller Williams, who we know there's an infraction there? How do we talk about the city manager who we know could have handled that situation differently, the former city manager? I think that it's out there. How do we tap everybody on the hand, but we don't go back to the source? So this is not personal. This is professional. As a board right now, we're being looked upon by investors, developers, and being able to trust us to know that we do things by the book. And when things are not done by the book, we use the book to get those things corrected. So my ask right now from my BIDA board members is to make a determination on this motion that I have seconded, not based on how you feel about somebody, not based on the fact that you don't like me and you just don't want Jamel's decision to stand or Celissa Jefferson's motion to stand, but make a decision based on what you want the City of College Park's Business Industrial Development Authority to look like. Because if we say that this is okay, then we are saying this can be done over and over and over again. Come on, come on, come on, come on, brokers, come on, folks, come on, realtors. Sign contracts with one member of the BIDA board. And you can get whatever amount of money you want to get, because we did not pass a financial management procedure tonight either. So it's still an open field right now.
That's right.
So my feeling, my thoughts, I made a decision before I was elected, and it has been even more infringed upon me, especially after having folks try to remove me from office for things that I did not do. I made a decision that I'm going to do everything by the book, and I'm going to do it right. Now, I have an opinion, and sometimes I'm not always making a decision. Like somebody already sent me a text. They said, oh, well, looks like you were just 10 toes deep with Keller Williams in June. That's because I didn't have the information. But once the attorney came to us with the facts and evidence, do you think as a woman of God, as a pastor, as a chaplain, as a child of God, I'm going to sit up here and say, it's okay? Just push it on under the rug. Jamel, you know this could be a way for you to get some brownie points. Just agree with what everybody says is okay. No, I'm not going to do it because I got to sleep tonight. So what I'm saying to my board members, make a decision that you can sleep with, that you can live with, that you don't mind the City of College Park Business Industrial Development Authority being looked at, because no decision should be made on behalf of this board without this board. This is a democracy. This is not a monarchy. One person does not run the City of College Park, nor does one person run the BIDA board. No, does one person run the United States of America either, even though you might have a problem with them. They're not running it. And that's all I got to say.
Okay. All right, Mayor Motley Brown.
I think this board has had amazing foresight, Madam Chair, in adopting an ethics policy and a complaint process. And we should follow it. And if any member becomes aware of a possible violation of our code of conduct, the process is they file a written complaint. And it should be addressed to you if you are not the person who is the subject of the complaint. And that written complaint should include the name of the member, a description of the alleged violation, and the name and contact of the person filing the complaint. The BIDA attorney is participating in that and reviews the complaint and forwards it to an independent attorney experienced in ethics law to review the complaint and determine if it warrants further investigation. If the complaint has sufficient allegations to warrant proceeding further, The independent attorney shall notify the BIDA chair and the affected member in writing of the specific basis and findings that warrant initiation of the formal investigation process. A fair and impartial investigation will be conducted, which may include interviews, review of documents, and gathering of relevant information. I know that we had an investigation tonight into the particular Keller Williams situation. I don't know that, and Ms. Wiley addressed the fact that she did not specifically deal with the issue with the vice chair. But any accused member under our code of conduct will be given written notice of specific allegations and at least 10 business days to respond in writing. The accused member has the right to present evidence and witnesses, respond to all allegations, and be represented by counsel at the member's own expense if desired. A special meeting of BIDA may be convened to review the complaint, evidence, and responses. The meeting may be held in executive session to protect confidentiality during the process, consistent with applicable open meetings laws. And after reviewing all evidence and hearing from the parties involved, BIDA will determine whether a violation occurred. That decision requires a majority vote of the members present at a properly noticed meeting. And if a violation is found, BIDA may impose one or more of the following sanctions, depending on the severity: a verbal warning, a written warning, a public reprimand, public censure, suspension, or recommendation for removal. And both the complainant and the accused member will be informed in writing of BIDA's final decision and any sanctions imposed. And, excuse me, the subject will have the opportunity to appeal to the Superior Court. We took months to come up with a process and a code of conduct. I think it's important that we do not circumvent it. I agree with Mayor Pro Tem. This should not be based on emotion. We have a framework by which to actually do this work and show that we are serious about it. I understand the concerns. I understand the severity of it. We have a process. I do not think that we should circumvent the process, and we should move to have this process take effect. This is what the board said we wanted to do. We wanted to have a process in place. We should follow it.
Okay, I do need to
Madam Chair.
respond to that.
Wait a
You want to
minute.
respond
Yeah,
to it? Go ahead.
I need to respond first. What the mayor failed,
Hold 1 second, because I want to speak also. This is being chair and being back on BIDA. This one right here hits very, very hard for me personally. When it comes to, because what has happened definitely is not good. It does not look good in no kind of way. But I know we're still investigating, and we know that certain things have happened. But I do want due process. I couldn't, vote consciously because I know what that did to me personally. Even though mine was totally different from this, but this right here does not. I think we got to go through the process. But Attorney Wiley, I've never been on board where we've had to, do something like this, and I know we do have a code of ethics. Have you ever had anything, where a board member?
well, for this particular matter, two things as everyone was talking. First, your bylaws say that you all can vote and elect your officers.
That's all we're talking about.
You elect the officers They shall be elected by a majority of the members of the authority. The bylaws are silent as to removal. However, there's a legal principle that says the same way you can appoint someone, it's inherent that that same method can be used to remove someone when the rules are silent.
Correct.
That's a legal principle that I know and I've read many times. With respect to the code of conduct, there's nothing in that ethics code or code of conduct that says that it would apply retroactively. So conduct that occurred from the time of its adoption forward will obviously apply. I think we will have some problems retroactively applying it to something from 2024 when we didn't adopt it until 2025. So I don't think it would be applicable in that process would not apply to the acts that y'all are discussing now.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I?
Okay, yes, Ms. Jefferson.
So what amazes me is that we have a mayor that's the president now of GMA. And it amazes me how you comprehend legal matters. I notice, being on this board for several years now, that you try to do your best to convolute.
Madam Chair, point of order. She's making direct
I am
points.
stating my opinion
She's
based
directing them
upon
right at me.
her. I'm stating my opinion based upon what she read. My opinion is that you, as a mayor, convolute the information, and you do not
This is
provide the
inappropriate.
necessary
Madam Attorney Wiley.
information to this board
So
correctly. Having said that,
Robert's Rules of Order under 4321 mandates the code of decorum that has to be exhibited in meetings such as this. And one of the things you cannot do is to personally disparage a fellow board member. What you can do is discuss issues. You can argue and
Yes.
debate issues, but not the people. And you can
Correct.
imply or state, question a member's motives. That's straight from Robert's Rules, which this body has adopted as its
Correct.
parliamentary procedure.
and I concur with you, but what I was stating was my opinion based upon what she read openly to the board.
Right.
So
you can talk
based-
about your disagreement with her
Correct.
analysis and opinion.
Correct.
But not what she does and who she is and
Correct.
what other positions she holds. Yes.
Correct, and that was my state of
Thank
order.
you. Okay.
In addition to that, we are appointed to this board by our council members to be of good service and to be great stewards and to manage ourselves under governance. Now, if we are incapable of adhering to that, it just speaks volumes to our community that we would make an agreement to, or consensus to chastise and punish the parties involved, the broker, but not have any type of recognizance or, a penalty against the person who caused this matter with an unauthorized contract not approved by this board. I mean, it comes to a point where I have always said we have got to reach a professional maturity. This is not a personal matter. This is about us taking care of business, us be abiding citizens to the law, and us governing ourselves accordingly on the good welfare of our community that's in compliance with our law.
Okay.
And if we are incapable as a board to do that, what are we saying to our community? And so therefore, there was no, as the attorney stated, the code of ethics is governed by discovery, okay? However, that's why I asked you the question, Attorney Wiley, about the violations that were specifically done. So based upon, this is why I called this motion, because based upon the current violations that the attorney clearly stated in her investigation, This is not discovery. It's a statement from our attorney, clear violation of our protocol procedures and how we have to conduct ourselves under governance and stewardship to this community. And based upon that, I reiterate my motion, which has a second, to remove Member Tracy Wyatt as vice chair so that we can continue to conduct our business in continuity and in good faith with our economic development director and not having privy information exposed to an officer that clearly violated our charter.
Any more discussion?
I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna respond to the things that were said that are not true. I think the attorney have already said, and I think the mayor's already said there's a process. The attorney already said that that process is not retroactive. Once this motion over, I'll make a statement, but I'll wait until this is over, then I'll probably make a statement.
Okay.
But clearly,
yeah, I
there's
do
no
have something,
precedence for
Madam Chair.
removing.
I have one more thing to just, I want to clarify to the,
Okay.
okay.
I wanted to go ahead and, let's go ahead and vote.
Okay.
She's taking away your right to speak.
Yeah.
Madam, you're taking
Wait a
away the point of order.
Wait a minute. Because I think,
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment.
Dr. Williams.
Microphone.
While I agree that Vice Chair violated the confidentiality, the ethics of this board, I do believe there should be tiers in regards to punishment. And at least put something out on the table besides removal. Are there other options? I do believe removal is at the top, but what comes before that? Yes, he did violate the ethics of this board. However, what other options are there in terms of penalties? It looks like we're going from 0 to 100 in 60 seconds. What else is in between? Do we have any other recommendations out there besides removal?
Okay.
I'd
and,
like to,
Mayor Pro
I'd like
Tem.
to make my comment. I'm in response even to that comment, which was what I was going to say. We are not, the motion is not to remove Board Member Wyatt from the board. We're not asking for that. That would be 0 to 100. We are simply saying that this violation, which is a clear violation, needs no investigation, it is what it is, was committed by a person who was in an executive leadership position. The penalty is that this individual does not remain in an executive official capacity. No one is trying to remove a member from this board. This is simply what attorney, sorry, I'm about to call by first name, Wiley is saying. We can, the same way we can vote for somebody to be made an officer, we can also vote for them to be removed from office. And with that being said, I would like to add on to your motion that we elect Board Member Lisa as our vice chair in the stead of the current vice chair.
I agree. I concur to revise my motion accordingly to what the Mayor Pro Tem stated.
Your second is?
My second, yeah, I kind of, that's what I'm saying. So we're looking at, we're just replace the position with, and actually she was nominated at the beginning of this year.
True.
And so we just put her in the, I would nominate her to be the vice chair and remove the current vice chair from the position of vice chair. And to me, that is directly related to the offense and the ethics or the ethical violation that because a person who's vice chair can still be in a position to sign a document
Correct.
in the absence of the chair. That person can still chair a meeting and make decisions on behalf of BIDA. And so to me, that is the 10 out of 60 and not 0 to 60.
Okay. Okay,
Clearly, that's inappropriate, but go ahead, call for the vote.
all right, got everybody. All in
There's
favor?
no rules to do
By
that.
raise of hands.
You can't do that.
In favor? All in favor of
The long motion.
the motion? All in favor? We have 3. All opposed? It's 3. What? What is?
Is she abstaining?
This one's asking.
Yes, you have to ask if she's abstaining.
Oh, are you abstaining? I didn't.
The motion.
One abstain.
So then it passes.
Okay.
There isn't a tie. She abstained. There's 4, so that's the motion passes.
3 were in favor with an abstention.
She's not here, so it's good.
No, that's not how abstain works.
That's not how abstain works.
All right, Attorney, will you give us the rule and let's move on, Madam Chair?
Well, Mr. Herc and I were discussing here, unlike the city of College Park where the mayor only votes in the event of a tie, the chair here actually can vote on every motion. So her vote no, is, the motion did not pass, so it's good.
All right, let's go, Madam Chair.
To me, because you had 3 in favor, the mayor abstained, and you had 3 opposed. So in favor of the motion. So that's passing.
Oh, well,
That's who
It's not-
yeah,
sorry,
you
y'all.
don't have a
I'm tired.
you're
majority.
misconstruing that.
okay, let me read it. I'm tired, y'all.
Okay.
Really, it still has to be a majority of the vote and 4 votes.
Right.
Yes.
And so,
You don't have
how do
to.
we handle abstentions? Do we make abstentions the way the city of College Park does? If you abstain,
That's
that's
how we
considered
handle
yes. But I don't know we don't have that rule for BIDA. We don't have any parliamentary rules, which is something I'm developing for y'all.
Well, our precedent that's what we have done. Our
Oh.
precedent has always have gone with the mayor and council. That has been
To
our
follow their
precedent.
procedural rules?
Yes.
No, you gotta have a majority vote, period.
Yeah,
No.
we can adopt we will have to adopt our own procedural rules and parliamentary rules, which is something Brian and I have been talking about. I'm gonna do that before the end of the year.
Well, thank
So-
you.
But so you're
Attorney
stating that
Wiley.
our precedent doesn't matter. What we have done in the precedent,
We have had votes like.
So
we
we'll
have
have to go.
always voted the
So-
same way accordingly to mayor and council when it comes to abstentions. Always.
Do we have we adopted that as a
Yes,
part policy?
we have always voted in that matter.
Look at votes in the past.
We have always, every single meeting, when it comes to abstains.
I can't.
I'm gonna look up Robert's rules. I'm
Ms.
gonna defer to
Wiley,
Robert's rules.
Attorney Wiley, Madam Chair, I apologize.
All right, it's time to. Okay.
If it's a majority vote on council, essentially an abstention is not counted, so you look at the majority. I'm sorry, why, I'm still,
So what do you? Okay, Attorney Wiley,
I'm-
right now.
I'm addressing the
so we're
chair.
gonna- It's a tie vote.
majority.
Under parliament, a tie gives you nothing.
Okay.
A tie
that's what we
means
gonna-
it didn't pass or it did fail. It's just no action. It's like a 0 plus 0 equals 0. 0 times 0 is 0. That's what Robert's rules provide. Now, we don't have any parliamentary rules or procedure to adopt. If that's what y'all want to adopt, we can do that. But
Can you join me?
okay,
We have never, abstains is not enough.
Okay.
Lean is on.
okay. Well, I will research this more. I trust your memory, of course, as you remember.
Thank you.
But I'm just going by what I know sitting here
adjourned.
today.
And the other thing, the notebooks are these things that we should be able to take home and